Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a brand new review for Married to Medicine, Season 9, Episode 8. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Y'all, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. Now, y'all, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. When the episode first opens up, you know, they give us a montage of the ladies. Quad is teaching Mason to tie his shoes with his little cute self. Contessa is talking to her trainer about what she did, okay, in Vegas or didn't do. It wasn't keeping a diet. I know that's what you wasn't doing. Simone is with the patient, and Anila is at home with Dr. Kieran. So she's telling him about the game that they played in Vegas. Anila, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. They have that saying for a reason, girl. And she's talking about how Toya said Eugene's penis was giving pencil. Okay, y'all remember that? I said that last review. And she's like, yeah. And we were talking about if we could swap husbands. And she said she would swap for you. Anila, why would you tell him that? You know him and Eugene just made up. Okay, and what is he supposed to do with this information? Just what? Girl. So Dr. Kieran is like, oh, okay, well, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I thought that was so tacky because now he's walking around thinking about Toya wanting a little bit of his man piece and sitting around thinking about Toya saying her man ain't got the piece that God gave a goose. Honey, don't do that. So then he's like, you know what? Your mom is coming. I want to write up some rules for your family before they get here. Her mom is definitely not going to follow those rules, honey, not one of them. Okay. And I think y'all should call it something else. All the commandments that you wrote down, she not going to follow none of them. Anila not going to make her follow none of them. Honey, they run over each other. And there's no boundary set. So you just wasting paper, honey. It's just wasting trees. Moving forward. In the next scene, Toya is at home making dinner. And she's telling the boys that they're going to a concert, you know, later on, right? So she's cooking. I think she's cooking some chili. She was cooking something, honey. Toya going to be cooking up something or washing a dish if she don't do nothing else. So her son is telling her that he got accused of stealing. So Toya said, go get your daddy. Now, this reminded me of old school when I was younger, because that's something that my mom would do. If we told her something, she would immediately involve our dad so that we could have his input as well. I thought that was so sweet. She was like, go get your dad. And he's all like, I'm watching the game. Eugene, right now, okay, we're filming. I know you need I know you need some me time. I don't want to take that from you, but get on up because we got to talk about this real quick fast. So he comes in and he's wondering what's going on. So the son is telling him that he got accused of stealing. So Toya in the confessional, she says she let the kids go to a sleepover while she was in Vegas. And one of the kids accused her son of stealing the birthday boy's gifts. Oh, hell no. So Eugene was asking him, he's like, are you okay? And he said, yeah, I'm okay now. But Eugene is encouraging him to make sure that he surrounds himself with the right friends. And Toya was like, yeah, because even now I have to make sure that I choose my friends wisely. The first question I had when I was listening to this was, what race was the child that accused him of stealing? I'm sorry, y'all, but that was the first thing that came to my mind. So in the confessional, they were talking about the situation, right? And Eugene said, although it wasn't racially motivated, him being a young black young man, if you're accused of stealing, trespassing, and doing those such things, the consequences can be fatal. Even if you're not accused, they automatically assume that they will steal. You walk into a store with a hoodie on and you don't come out without your body being covered. Okay, we know the stories. So the fact that you go to a birthday party as a young kid and they start labeling you a thief, baby, I would have to speak to their parents, honey. There would be no conversation that needed to be had between me and the child. We will talk about that later, son. But I need to see this boy's mama. Okay, because this is exactly why, number one, I don't do sleepovers. Okay, because you can't trust people, honey, not just because of the stealing and the profiling, but other things as well. Number two, I need to meet your friends. I need to meet their parents, honey. If I can't meet their parents, then y'all can't be friends. And that's just that on that. Because I remember as a young kid, my mom would always tell me, like, that person's not good for you or this person's not good for you. And I'm like, these are my friends. Y'all, when I tell y'all she saved me from some of the most horrible things I could have gone through, and she was absolutely right. Those people were not good for me. And also, kids pick up learned behavior. Okay, it's like I want my son to be in situations where he can learn about all races But at the same time, I'm also always vigilant of how their kids treat my son. Okay, y'all remember that lady that went to that slumber party and never made it home? Honey, this is some serious stuff. And I actually loved this scene. You know, we give Toya a hard time or whatever, but baby, Toya don't play about them kids. She is a great mother. I have to give her that. So, you know, this scene was just, it was just a very poignant scene, and it was something that people need to see on TV. That's why Married to Medicine is where it's at. Honey, I don't care if people be like, Married to Medicine? Ooh, that's boring. No, it's actually top tier TV, honey. Elevate your mind. Anywho, so Eugene was asking her about Vegas because, you know, Toya seemed kind of stressed. She was like, I seem stressed. He said, yeah, I mean, the situation with the boys, you know, it seemed really tense. She was like, yeah, the reason why is because I was stressed about my boys. She said, the reason why I stay home is to not leave the kids with strangers. Like, I don't want to be worried about my children. But then, somehow she blamed it on Eugene for working and sleeping. I was like, oh, child. I guess he's supposed to work, never sleep. Like, who was with them while he worked and while you were in Vegas? Toya, you got to give him a little bit of a reprieve, okay? Because both of you are trying as hard as you can try. So, of course, Eugene is offended because Toya is acting like he never sees the kids. He's spread too thin, Toya. Eugene, I blame you as well, though, because you complain of burnout every single season, but you're not fixing it. I mean, you should do telemedicine now. I mean, things have changed in medicine. So there are other things that you can do to still make your same check or more, and you'll have some freedom. So anywho, they arguing back and forth and back because Toya is getting on him about not being more present in the home. And I feel like she just taking out on Eugene per usual because she mad at them people about how they treated her kid. Honey, take that out on them. If they was beefing at that party, they should have been beefing at that party. Well, why bring it to somebody else's house? That's sad. Y'all comment down below if y'all know where that came from. Please tell me y'all know where that came from, honey. Moving forward. In the next scene, Heavenly shows up to Dr. Jackie's office. Hey, girl. And Dr. Jackie is giving her a bag of goodies, honey, you know, some of her favorite things to keep the whatnots fresh and whatnot. She gave her some Refresh, some probiotics, you know, trying to keep that pH balance good. So she's telling Heavenly that they got her labs, her cholesterol, everything is looking good. But welcome to menopause. Okay. So Heavenly said during menopause, the ovaries are like, girl, we can't make no more estrogen and progesterone. So yeah, it's time for the hot flashes and whatnot. See you in the freezer, honey. See you in the freezer. So Heavenly was like, on her, so Heavenly in her confessional, she gonna say, I still get my period. Oh, I still get it. I mean, I might miss a few months, but it'll be back. It'll be back. Heavenly is a nut, child. Not it'll be back. So Jackie is going to give her some progesterone to help her memory, her insomnia, and the testosterone is going to help with her libido. Child, I might need some progesterone, honey, because I can't sleep worth a damn. That's why y'all be getting reviews in the midnight hour, honey. I need some of that. But I don't think I qualify. Child, I got to make an appointment, honey. So then she tells her that she wants to give them an O shot. It's where they give you a shot with your own platelets, you know, to get you saying, ooh, honey, no thank you. No thank you, honey. They experimenting with blood and shooting it in. I'm good. Heavenly, of course, was convinced. She's like, girl, I'm going to do it. Because Dr. Jackie said the O shot will have you singing a different tune, honey. She was like, you ain't going to be mad at nobody because you're going to be too busy owing. Okay? Anybody else notice that this season is giving the vagine and the sex talk of it all? Now, don't get me wrong. I love when Dr. Jackie educates us, honey. Because when you go to your OBGYN, sometimes you're a little bit afraid or nervous to ask certain questions. When I was younger. Today's date, honey, I'm running down a list. I actually write down a list before I go, just so I make sure that I don't forget nothing I need to ask. But anyway, I love it when Dr. Jackie gives us a medical minute. Moving forward. So then Jackie was just basically asking Heavenly how she was, and Heavenly tells her that her mom is back in the hospital and she's going to need to go to hospice. She can't eat on her own. Her health is not improving. It's actually declining. And I really hate to hear that. Like Dr. Jackie said, no matter the age, that's still your mom. I know Heavenly is going through it. When I tell you that's a pain that I don't wish on my worst enemy, to have to see your parents decline. Like, I don't know how she's making it through it, honey. I know she's going through it. And I feel like Heavenly is the type to hold it in and then just explode. I'm happy she has Dr. Damon daddy, honey, so she can talk to him and he'll be able to calm and comfort her. I'm happy she has him. In the next scene, Dr. Kieran and Anila are waiting for her parents to arrive for a trial live-in situation. So they finally arrive, honey. I'm already ready for them to go, child. And they ain't even my parents. That mama wear me out, honey. Ooh, she wear me out. So they finally arrive, and baby, they got some bags. I said, ooh, y'all moving right on in, ain't you? So they not in there 5 minutes. And Dr. Kieran pulls out the rules, honey. The commandments of the home. Baby, bilingual rules at that. Baby, Dr. Kieran had English rules on the front and the other rules on the back, honey. He made sure, honey, y'all gonna read these rules, honey. Don't act like you don't understand. So they're like, you don't have rules for parents? No. You need boundaries and structure. See, this is why I can't live with my parents. They still see me as a child, and that's not going to work for me. And they still see Anila as a child. And the end of this episode just proved that. Those are very simple rules and very reasonable things to do. Wash your hands before and after you touch food. If you can't do that, honey, you definitely cannot stay. Okay? You can't do that, you can't stay. I don't want your little nasty germs all over the place, and I don't want you cooking for me with your bare hands and you ain't washed them. Child, they read those rules and tore them right on up at the end. Anila will not make her parents follow those rules, so that was a complete waste of a scene. Moving forward. In the next scene, Simone is at home with Cecil. Child, this was where it got a little bit rowdy. So Heavenly and Dr. Damon daddy, they show up, and he arrives in his scrubs. Hey, sir. And so Simone is telling them that the purpose of the dinner is that they're writing a book, so why not get some advice? Here go Heavenly. Yes, some advice from a better marriage. Baby, Heavenly is hell on them, honey, and I live for it. Oh, she hell. So Dr. Scott and Contessa, they show up. And child, they show up, honey, but they should have been left out if y'all trying to get something about a better marriage. So they arrive next. And Contessa, you're so dressed up. And Heavenly and Damon, just as casual. So they start talking about Vegas because they sit down and Toya and Dr. Jackie having sex, and the men quickly exited. They was like, we don't want to hear about no Vegas stuff. You know, they was just playing with them, but the men felt uncomfortable. So Dr. Contessa tells Simone in the beginning of the book, she thinks that she should give people insight on how her and Cecil met. So Simone was like, girl, when I met Cecil, he was so hard. Like, I could not get him to say yes to anything. He always was challenging me. I just wish I could have married a yes man. Nah, Simone, the way you be hollering and cackling, honey, and being loud and all that, that would run him crazy. Cecil compliments you. This was the exact man made for you. I don't think I could ever see Simone with anybody other than Cecil. So I think G.O.D. got it right. So in the confessional, Cecil was like, yes, man, that ain't in me. I think you must want a dog. Honey, she must want a lap dog. So Scott said, well, Contessa will run all over a yes, man. I believe she would too. Okay, I definitely believe she would, especially after this scene that's coming up. So Heavenly gonna say, if I put it in my mouth, I can get anything I want. He's like, I don't know about all that. Don't do that, buddy. Don't say that, buddy. Don't say that. Oh, honey, I love the marriages on this show, honey. Even though they have their ups and downs and they be falling the hell apart sometime, this is the true, real housewives of Atlanta. But they're doctors and they're not housewives. Honey, these are the real spouses of Atlanta. Because every last one of them married, except Miss Quad. But honey, we know how that worked out. So there's that. Moving forward. So they sit down to eat. And so Heavenly about to start going in. Talking about, they want to know more about our marriage, honey. They feel like we getting our marriage. They feel like our marriage is sick. Cecil said, wait a minute. Okay, hold on. We want to make sure that everybody feels safe to share. So I have this NDA. When I tell y'all my mouth dropped because I thought he was serious at first, but child, he was just playing. I was like, ooh, honey. But off camera, honey, y'all might need it. So then Contessa was like, so how did you and Cecil, know that y'all were the one for each other? Cecil, how did you know Simone was the one? So Simone said, well, he was my neighbor and I felt like he was going places and I felt like we could go places together. So, I mean, there's that. So then Scott brings up how him and Contessa got together. He was like, I think I was in the 4th year of med school or my last year of residency, right? When was it? She was like, you tell me. Oh, Lord. So he said he was in his last year of medical school and he told her that he was going to pay his loans off within 4 years. And she was like, yeah, well, I'm in the military and I'm going to pay mine off as well. And he was like, oh, okay. So basically her credit made her get it. He said he wouldn't have dealt with her if she was broke. Okay. I get the sentiment behind it, but the story was so like cold and not cute. He basically was like, I chose her FICO and then fell in love. Like, it didn't do it for me. Like, I feel like he could have kept that. Child. Anywho. So then, Dr. Damon starts to speak. And he tells them, what women don't realize is that their words hurt. Because with a man, you cross the line, you know what you gonna get. But with a woman, there's no line. So Contessa said, are you talking about Heavenly? Ma'am, he said, women don't realize their words hurt. Are you not a woman? I know that the testosterone takes over every now and again, honey. But Dr. Jackie might need to shoot you full of some progesterone or something, honey. Because he was definitely speaking to all of the women. Girl, and you starting a mess right here. She feels like she would rather wrestle than have people touch her vulnerabilities. Well, I mean, we have seen you go She-Hulk a few times, okay? A few times in a few seasons. So he said, in the group, people talk and then the next day it's a joke. So both Simone and Contessa are like, girl, he got to be talking about you because you are the culprit. I think he was including all of y'all. I really do. So in the confessional, Contessa was like, well, Heavenly is the only one that does that. She knows that she's the only one that does that. No, ma'am. You were mad at Toya last season for doing it. Anila and Kieran just did it to Toya and Eugene. So you're wrong. Okay. All of y'all do that. All of you are guilty of what he's explaining. Contessa said, well, I just feel like you should be careful who you share your information with. And Heavenly said, well, don't say stuff you don't want repeated about your husband. So now these two are going at it. So Dr. Damon is trying to stop Heavenly, but she's making a point of don't say things about your husband in front of the world if you don't want the world to know about it and you don't want it repeated. So he's like, I'm asking you to stop. So then after Heavenly, piped down a little bit, he said, I'm asking you not to talk. Okay, this is a perfect example. I asked you to stop, but you didn't, and that's a lack of respect. Ooh, wee. It is very rare that Damon speaks his speech. Very rare. He said, it just really bothers me to my core that y'all got this BS going on. She's like, no, it's not BS. He said, no, it is BS. She said, no, it's not BS. It's real. Contessa, it is BS. Because it seems to only have surfaced just now. You were okay before filming. Now, all of a sudden, the cameras come up. You don't want to talk about Scott, so you rather hone in on what Heavenly did. And we ain't talked about you and Scott yet. And the thing is, when you left the reunion last season, people were in support of you. So when you came back this season, we thought that we would revisit what happened between you and Scott, get a little bit of an update. Child, y'all breezed on right past that. Because you wanted to focus on something else so the heat could be off your marriage. And honey, you ain't fooling me. So Contessa in the confessional is like, I'm not your wife. Don't lecture me. So she tells Damon that he's taking his wife's side. He is not. He's speaking to the entire table. So of course Heavenly is pissed. Okay. So she piped up and she was like, can you shut the F up and let him speak? Contessa said, no, you shut the hell up, Heavenly. Heavenly, I know you don't like the wives interacting with the husbands, but at the same time, you telling her to shut the F up was going to warrant her saying, you shut the F up. So now things are getting heated. So now these two are cussing back and forth and back. And she's like, you don't respect my husband. So they get up and they getting ready to leave, honey. They get up and get ready to walk off. And Heavenly is like, see, that's what she's saying. You see what she's saying, Daddy? She talking to you. Heavenly, she is speaking to him. And she was rude for talking over him because Damon was just trying to make peace. If you would stop and listen, Contessa, you would have heard exactly what he was trying to say. What he was trying to say is y'all are making a big deal about nothing because the two of you were actually very good friends. And this is some BS. But instead, because you can't pipe up on Scott, okay, because we all saw that last season, you decide to be rude to Damon and speak over him. Listen, Contessa, listen. So he's telling her, he's like, you're not listening to me. That's what he's telling Heavenly. He said, I don't like getting upset. So in the confessional, he said, I don't like getting upset because when I do, I feel that for days. Me too, Dr. Damon. I can't sleep. I can't eat good after being upset. It's just not good for your central nervous system, honey. It ain't good for your body in general. It takes a lot out of you to be upset. So he told Heavenly, he's like, I just feel like you need to forgive her. Like people act like forgiveness is so hard. This is all things that he's saying in the confessional. So as they're walking out, he's like, when I ask you to do something, you should do it. Oh, baby, she has pissed him off. But not too much, honey, because he still opened that door for her and gave her his jacket. I was like, oh, Dr. Damon, daddy, I want a man like that. Honey, that's going to get me together, but still going to open my door for me, honey, and make sure I make it inside safely. Moving forward. So she was like, I'm doing it. He said, no, it's too late. You already made your choice. Oh, baby. Okay, we see who runs things in that house. He is running things in the house, and Heavenly is running her mouth in the house. I ain't never seen Dr. Heavenly so quiet. So then Cecil comes out to tell Dr. Damon, listen, cut your wife some slack, okay? It's a lot of emotions. It's a lot of history. So just cut her a little bit of slack. He was like, no, I feel like when I tell you to stop, I think you should stop. I didn't realize Dr. Damon was so stern. I didn't realize that. I really didn't. Yes, Heavenly could have respected what he asked her to do and stopped. But sometimes I feel like, she needs to pipe up because Contessa was being rude and she was speaking over you. Should she have used cuss words? No. But I feel like she should have told Contessa, girl, hold up. Allow him to finish speaking. I don't think there was anything wrong with that. But y'all, why Heavenly in this front seat looking out the window like she about to get a strong lecture and put on punishment when she get home? She looked like a child in that front seat. Baby, that's how I used to look when my mama had to come get me from school, honey, before school was out, honey. When that principal called her, I was like, oh, Lord, honey, it's going to be a long ride home. That was very nice of Cecil to come out and kind of have Heavenly's back, though, given their history. I thought that was stand up of Cecil. Cecil, you all right with me. You and your powder blue suit, you all right with me. So inside, Contessa is like, you don't stand in front of me because I got the same credentials. We make the same amount of money. We're both doctors. Girl, this did not have any damn thing to do with your credentials. You are so confused. And Simone, you sitting there co-signing, talking about, yep, this is true. This had nothing to do with that. You are so foolish. Honey, there's no other word for me to say. This man has never been disrespectful to you. He didn't speak to you in a condescending tone. What he was saying simply was, y'all arguing and fussing all the time is just uncalled for. So in the car, Dr. Damon is like, every time I come around your friends, it's this mess. So Heavenly was like, is that my fault? He said, you could change your part. I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that he held his wife accountable. You could change your part. He didn't even want her speaking to him on the ride home, honey. He was like, let's just ride home silent, okay? Because I need to calm down. Ooh, child, that went left so quickly. And Scott was hush-mouthed the whole time. Scott, where were you? You weren't in the scene. And Contessa, if you didn't forgive Heavenly for whatever it is y'all went through, then why did you get up with that fakeness in Vegas? Talking about, no, you gonna make me cry. Just stay away from each other. If you don't like her, then you don't like her. So Simone said, well, I thought after Vegas that they were good, but clearly they are not ready to be in the same room. Exactly. That's why I didn't buy none of that fake crying and hugging. It lasted all of a damn day. Contessa is still holding a grudge about what Heavenly did. In the next scene, Dr. Jackie is at the office, calling to invite everyone to the O-shot party. Baby, it's a shot for the vagina to jumpstart and rejuvenate that thing. So she said normally she charges $2,500, but she's doing it for the free. Oh, so they showing up, honey. You didn't even have to call them. You could have sent a bat signal. I don't think I would personally be down for the O-shot. I'm not a shot type of girl. I don't want a shot in a glass. I don't want a shot in the ass. I don't want a shot in the vag. Honey, I don't want a shot. Child, I had to hit y'all with the Dr. Seussical, the musical of it all. I don't want a shot, honey. It don't sound right. It just don't sound right for me. I got to research it a little bit more. So the women start to show up. Toya, or as Anila's mom likes to call her, Toha, she shows up and she arrives. Anila and her mom are there. And then Contessa shows up in this my Adidas tracksuit. Now, I know it ain't an Adidas tracksuit, y'all, okay? Because, woo, honey, I swear y'all be taking such stuff so literal when I say it. It wasn't an Adidas tracksuit. It was Gucci. I know that, honey. I know that. I'm just going off of how Contessa never gets it right. I think Contessa might have Gizzard beat for worst dressed housewife. Now, I know we give it to Giselle, but if Contessa not beating her, they are definitely running neck and neck. Because Contessa can't dress worth a damn, honey. Not worth now, damn. So then Quad shows up with Leilani. I was like, not Leilani from Put a Ring on It. Child went from Married to Medicine. Done went from on to Bravo. So Dr. Jackie is explaining to them that, they draw blood, they use the platelets from the blood, and they inject it into the vagina. And see, this is why it's a hell no for me. No. Before the party started, Heavenly called and told Dr. Jackie that she won't be coming to the party because she's upset about her mom. They had to sign a do not resuscitate that day. And the pain in her voice, that really did break my heart. I cannot imagine how she was feeling. So my prayers for Heavenly. I'm not sure what the outcome is. I don't know if her mom is still with us. But that right there, the way that Heavenly sounded on that phone, I can only imagine. It was gut wrenching. I was like, man, I feel so bad for her. Moving on, Anila and Dr. Simone go back to have their blood drawn. So while they doing that, her mom is like, you gonna take me home? Either you gonna take me home right now or I'm gonna ride with Toya. Why did you even bring your mama? Why? Anila was like, well, I showed up with my mom. I'm not going to tell her what we're going to do because I don't want her blowing up on me, because growing up in my culture, we didn't talk about sex. We don't talk about Bruno. No. Baby, we don't talk about Bruno. Ma'am, I don't understand why you brought your mama. Your mama going to have something to say. So why would you bring her? It just don't make no sense. She just going to complain and tell you not to do it. So Simone goes to the back. She goes back first. While she's back there, Toya brings up Contessa checking Dr. Damon. First of all, Contessa did not check Dr. Damon. Okay? She interrupted him and he was trying to speak his speech. Toya. And Simone, the one that ran it back. So she was like, yeah, I heard that you checked Dr. Damon and Heavenly blew up. So Contessa said, no, it went left because of Heavenly. Dr. Damon was okay. So Quad said, and do you know why it went left? And I'll tell you why. Her mother is dying. Okay? She might not make it past this week. So Contessa said in her confessional, if Heavenly is feeling anything how she felt when her mom passed, it was the lowest of the low. Yes, she's going through it, Contessa. She is going through it. So Contessa asked if they could all pray for Heavenly and pray for her mom. And I thought that was very big of her. I really did. She didn't say that there's no excuse for that. She just prayed. And I thought that was beautiful. Okay, because she could have been, well, that's no excuse for her to be an ass. So, she could have said anything. But she immediately stopped. And even Quad was like, see, this is the person that I know. The person that even though you're going through it with that person, you're still able to be empathetic of how someone else is feeling. So they all grabbed hands and they prayed. And so after they prayed, Contessa was like, Mom, will you let Anila do it? Can she get the O shot today for Dr. Karen? Child, not being 45 plus, as Toya said, and having to ask for permission to get your vag shot up. Girl, you done had 2 whole kids. Mama, how you think she got those babies? Immaculate conception? Okay. So Quad is standing 10 toes down for Heavenly. Honey, she needs somebody. Simone reemerges. Then everybody else goes. Child Carrie is back. Hey, girl. Baby, Carrie is living the life. Free shots, free trips. It's just the life that everybody needs, honey. It ain't got to do nothing for it. So anyway, she shows up, honey. So then Toya goes to the back, and honey, Toya is giving TMI about her being Aquafina down below. Honey, it's giving very much waterfall. And she was like, I just feel like I gave my vag some Patron. Honey, not a party in the panties. So then it was Anila's turn. But honey, her mama quickly said she would not sign her permission slip. So it's a hell no on that. And that was the end of the episode. Child, y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about this episode. I thought that it was a good episode. I love Married to Medicine. I know a lot of people don't like it, but that is my show. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.